Dun 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 dun. Dun dun dun. Hey everybody, it's me, True Powers Mine, and this is TPIM. It's our live. Yes. I want to thank you all for watching the show earlier, the broadcast. Like I said, I'm trying to bring different, interesting content, information that you normally wouldn't have access. You don't have time to dredge through all this bullshit and whatever. And thank God that we have the TPIM confidential informants all over the world that sends in quality stuff. I want to hopefully take you all on a journey that you otherwise would not go on. Let's go to Iran, modern day Iran.
Like most Americans, I know almost nothing about Iran. For me, this is a journey of discovery. What are my hopes? To enjoy a rich and fascinating culture, to get to know a nation that's a leader in its Afghanistan. We start in the capital, Tehran. Follow an ancient trade route south to the village of Abiane, to Esfahan, to Shiraz, and finish at Persepolis. Every country, including our own, limits access to foreign film crews.
Yeah, that's because they're scared that you're basically a spy. But I want you guys to pay close attention to the cars. If you look at the body styles of the cars, it's almost as if they're like in the 80s. And there are no street lamps. That he came to Iran talking about he can film this stuff without getting political. Hold on 1 second with me, guys. I want to listen to what he says right here.
For me, this is a journey of discovery. What are my hopes? To enjoy a rich and fascinating culture, to get to know a nation that's a leader in its corner of the world and has been for 2,500 years, and to better understand.
Oh, here we go with the. Oh, and there it goes with the copyright shit. He said in the beginning, he went to Iran. The government's let him in like every other film crew, and he can't go certain places, and he's there just for work and blah, blah, blah. And he wasn't going to be political. And then we go like not even 10 minutes into the gig, and he's straight political. Talking about old boys, fabulous, pilots living like a king. People are pretty, distraught. But yet again, YouTube and the mighty copyright. Look at this. There it is right there. Copyright. Who can take a live show and crush it? YouTube can. YouTube can take a live show and crush that mug. I just wanted to check out some of the scenery. I love architecture. Actually, I'll probably in the next few days, I'll jump in the car. We'll just take it through the city. I'll just do a live show while I'm just rolling through the city. So we can check out downtown St. Louis, and I'll show you guys some of the sights. I can't take the strike, Sister Kathy. This channel is too valuable to be playing around with. Especially once I hand it over to the next person, whoever or whomever you are out there. It's going to be important that we can keep this channel rolling. It's going to be like a library. I mean, I was just checking it out, man. There's over like 700 fucking videos on this channel. 700 videos. Hey, one thing that would be cool? Hold on. This would be cool. I tell you what, check this out. Because I know somebody. Hold on. I want to put this up just for a second. No copyright. Hold on 1 second. This is kind of crazy. I know this is totally unorthodox, y'all. Most people are like, we come to a show, blah, blah, blah. But this show's just a wee bit different in the fact that, well, we just have a lot of experts listening. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole lot of experts.
Hey, you've reached Kathy.
Oh, come on. Pick up the phone, sister. Pick up the phone, Sister Kathy. Cut that mug on. And come on down. Price is right. Ah, call me on the 636 number, Kathy. We can talk about, because you have been sending me some great stuff on the email circuit, and we can work it out right here. Call me on that number. The phone line is open because, you know, that Iran video is cool and all, man. But, oh boy, he's kind of, I don't know. I think he's actually CIA. You know, like I said, there's a part up in here where he's like, man, we come here and we're not going to do nothing political. And then next thing you know, he's political. I'm going to get to that part where he says that craziness. Yeah, here it is.
Issues, the Iranian government is allowing.
Listen.
We start in the capital, Tehran. Follow an ancient trade route south to the village of Abiane, to Esfahan, to Shiraz, and finish at Persepolis. Every country, including our own, limits access to foreign film crews. We're here in Iran with the permission of the Iranian government. And we're working within the limits it sets as we explore this complex society. Knowing we're here to explore social and cultural dimensions rather than contentious political issues, the Iranian government is allowing our work.
So I'm not mistaken what he just said, right? And then, like I said, you go not even 5 minutes up into there, and when we're in a different zone. Sister Kathy, welcome to the show. Peace and power.
Thanks for having me, brother. How is everybody today?
Man, we are doing good. Hopefully, we are all still learning. We are all
That's
still
right.
learning.
I'm still learning.
That's what it's about. Now
That's Mr. Nellie Fuller's line.
Oh,
at
yes.
89 years old when you hear him live on his show. I'm still learning.
Yes, he is a very inspirational man, intelligent. So, Sister Kathy, can you kind of give us a breakdown what's happening in the news lately?
Oh, wow. Where do you want to start?
Man, let's start. Let's start in
Iran?
Yeah, let's start here.
Well, from what I can see, what I'm gleaning is that it looks like when you look at the map that the biggest problem with us trying to do a strike on Iran is when you look at the map, they don't have necessarily nuclear missiles, but they have nuclear power plants. More than likely, their military is protecting their nuclear power plant. Our missiles have about a 70% accuracy rate. So 30% of them can go astray. And our biggest fear is that they might hit one of those plants.
And then
trying to get
have a
on a strike that, so when Iran hit us, my biggest fear was that they were going to hit back. And Sister Black Sunrise did a show, and she mapped out exactly where the nuclear plants are and which countries. Pakistan has nuclear missiles pointed at India, and then right above India there's China with nuclear missiles,
right,
and Russia with nuclear missiles. And what I was trying to tell you the last time through the chat room is there's a thing called the Samson option. Can you Google that for us?
Yeah.
The Samson option.
Let me.
That's Israel's plan. That's Israel's plan. If they get struck or whatever, they're gonna use a Samson option.
Let me hold on. My computer's just lagging. Samson option.
Option.
Oh, this is horrible. They are just lagging me out. All right. We cool though. Samson.
That's
option.
it. That's it. I see it. You got it.
Right here. Do I need to click on the one for Israel?
I just use the one. You can, but I use the one in Wikipedia to say.
All right. No, I use that one. Let's go to this one.
Sure.
Oh, this is just crazy, yeah. This is just crazy.
So this is their plan.
Let me scroll down. Oh, look at even Samson, non-melanated cat. Don't you know? Okay, Samson option Hebrew.
Read that to us, please.
Okay, and I'll try to tighten it up on the screen too. So if y'all want to read it along, you can. Hold on, let me tighten this up on the screen.
Yeah, there. But I think that little caption tells you.
Yeah. Okay, according to the biblical narrative, Samson died when he grasped the two pillars. Ooh, two pillars. That's a little Messianic, ain't it? Never mind. Two pillars of the temple of the dragon. Oh, hold on. Now they're saying I'm a copyright. How's this a copyright? How is this oh my God, they're just messing with me, man. Anyhow, whatever. Bowed himself with all his might. Judges 16:30 King James Version.
So we have a lot of biblical references about it, and right below it, it tells you Israel's the deterrent strategy. Isn't that what it says?
Yeah. The Samsonites from Hebrew. Yeah. Israel deterrent strategy, mass annihilation, or no,
mass annihilation.
Retaliation. I meant retaliation. Now, I mean, even though it would probably be annihilation, but it's mass retaliation with nuclear weapons as a last resort. That's the Samson option. You mess with
so they'll take everybody out. They'll take everybody down with them if they get hit. That's their plan.
Right. Because let me explain why. In the Christian tradition or religion, Israel has finally been made a state. It cannot fall. If Israel falls, that would be devastating to the Christian faith. I mean, devastating that almost be unrecoverable.
Well, the thing is the Christian people aren't reading very well, are they? They're not reading that Zionist paper that was done in 1890. This has nothing to do with religion. This is a political move. And the same Zionists signed papers, a treaty with Hitler. Hitler moved those people from the mountains, the Caucasus Mountains. He moved them. This was done before World War II. He also supplied machinery and set up in Palestine. You can Google the treaty between Hitler. It's a Hitler treaty. He did a treaty. And in that treaty, he was setting up the state of Israel.
So
now what about that tells you a lot, doesn't it?
It does tell, because don't forget that before they decided on Palestine as the home of the Jews, they were quite literally looking at Madagascar, the island east off the
they want to be right in the middle of where the resources are.
Exactly.
And if the other thing that I found interesting too was I put this connection with the Russians. That's been going on with our politics, the Russians, and we have to remember Ukraine was part of Russia. The nuclear accident that happened in Chernobyl was in Russia, right?
Right.
But they seceded from Russia in that revolution, and now are an independent country, and Russia wants them back in their empire. They already got Crimea, so they're trying to retake Ukraine. Well, when you look at all this, the population of Russia has 1,500,000 Jewish citizens.
Wow.
They have more Jewish citizens in Russia than they do in Israel itself. So there's your connection between what's going on in the United States with who's controlling us, and what's going on in Russia, the Ukraine, and all of it has to do with trying to get Iran. And it's not just the oil.
What else do you believe it is?
Robbing identity. Just like this has been done to us. We call them culture vultures now with hip hop. And we see them robbing our culture and changing it over. It's not even the original hip hop anymore. No. It's controlled by these big liquor industries. And we know who controls us.
Exactly.
So, can you turn that down, please?
Turn what?
And I was talking to my friend. She has something playing in the background.
Well, we're hearing you loud and clear. It's perfect. It's almost
Yeah,
like
but
it's
just distracting me.
Oh, okay.
I need to turn this. Okay, so where was I at? So anyway, when you look at this, the real DNA, if you take the DNA from those people from the Caucasus Mountains, they're going to have European DNA.
Correct.
But they've taken the identity of the true Semites that are in Palestine, in Iraq, and in Iran. So that's part of it, that they're trying to take the full identity of the people with their inheritance. And so if you go ahead.
No, it was just like I'm listening. That was actually a glitch in the computer. I'm listening. I haven't said a word. I'm listening to you.
Yeah. So these people, have set themselves up right in the center of religious people, whether they're religious Muslims or religious Christians, and most of them are atheists.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And the name Israel, what does that mean? Can you look it up? What does Israel mean? Shut up the family.
Hold on 1 second. Just bear with me, everybody. We had to do this the hard way because my keyboard's messed up. Israel.
The definition. The definition.
Oh, now it's good. Okay, hold on. I gotta type that in. Yeah, hold on. Hold on 1 second.
You might want to Google it as the biblical definition of Israel.
Oh, we got the biblical down. Biblical image. Biblical.
The biblical definition.
Yes.
Check out these pictures.
Man, computer, you're slow. Biblical definition of Israel. All right, let's see what. Okay, here we go.
According to behind the name, from the Hebrew name, meaning God contends from the roots, meaning to contend, to fight, and meaning God. In the Old Testament, Israel wrestles with an angel.
So Israel means he who fights with God. That's what Israel means. He who fights God.
Meaning
that they're fighting with people that have very definite religious beliefs in God. And so that's part of what they do. And then the stolen identity goes back to Abraham. When they fooled Abraham, he was blind and he was giving his inheritance to the wrong child.
All right.
The firstborn was not him, and so it was Jacob.
Hold on, yeah.
So
hold on 1 second, sister. This is what has to go down. Now me and you, sister, we're just gonna have to have a straight conversation. I had to pull down the whatchamacallit, the
internet.
Yeah, because it was just making the computer lag, and the you sounded like I am a robot. This is like totally not human being. Now it should be all 100. It looks like we're just sitting by a camping fire. Now you guys are camping with true power and Sister Cat.
Okay.
Now let's talk about this. Let's talk.
So we have no control over this, even with our voting. If you go back to John F. Kennedy's speech, I think it was, it had to be before 63. He tells us that there's secret societies that are controlling us.
Yes.
So these secret societies are continuing, and we found out a lot from Mark from Anaheim about how the Nazis work.
Yes.
And so they don't want us. They want only white people. That's what they really want.
Well,
and
what they really want and what they're gonna really get is two different things. Because God is
I've been noticing that our government is using military in South America and in Africa, pushing the people north. You notice that? Everybody's complaining about they're coming in from the south. Well, it's the militaries that are pushing them that way.
Mm.
And what I believe is that there was oh God, I have to find the guy, but he's predicted there's going to be another ice age. It's not going to be global warming. It's going to be an ice age because he went back. He said that the thermometers only read back to 1850. So that's not enough of a spread to predict our weather. So he went back and drilled down into the ice, and there's some signatures based on whatever test that they do, that there was like an ice age, the way that the sun goes around or whatever, it is 206 years. So he's predicting that we've already started into it.
Mm.
Well, I don't know if I told you, but I read an article about 3 years ago, and I believe it was just a Yahoo article, and it said that the jet stream, in other words, the North Pole has really cold air and the sea is warm, and so it would storm and keep those icebergs and glaciers and the North Pole frozen.
Right.
But that the jet stream has slipped down around the northern hemisphere. So you notice Texas is full of ice. Remember back in the day in the cowboy movies, they'd take those cows from Missouri to Montana, and then they'd herd them down to the south.
Get those boats and be chopped up and sent wherever. Yeah.
But they can't. How are they going to do that now? How are you going to herd the cattle from the north to the south, and the south's frozen? You're not getting any. There's no grazing land. And true. I've been noticing where I'm at. Where are the cows at?
Mm.
I'm asking myself, where are the cows?
Mm.
Where are the sheep? Where are I'm looking at empty pens. Empty pens. In my, I'm from a rural area. Where are the cows at? I don't see the herd, the cattle. I don't see the herd, the sheep. What are we eating?
Yes. No. What are we eating? And where is it coming from? And why is it coming from there and not here? Why?
I don't understand what's, all I know is what I see. All I'm doing is looking at an empirical thing, and I ask questions, and then I take those questions and I dig as far as I can dig. You
got to pick this thing apart. I'm glad you do that, by the way. I'm glad you pick these things apart. Like the information you was bringing to me about Fukushima, about how, we're quite literally here on the first Olympic surfing event. All right. We're going to take these young people, especially the women, and throw those bodies where they can get that radiated water up there inside them, because there ain't no way to stop it. And that can mess with their eggs. The radiated isotopes.
It only takes one atom.
Mm.
It only takes one. And so if you know about radiation, they've been lying to the public. They're giving so much misinformation. A nuclear power plant does not generally blow up, it melts down. It will melt down all the way down to the core of the earth that you can't. So you have at least 2 reactors out of the 4 in Fukushima that are completely damaged and destroyed. And that was in 2010. Right. It takes 87 days ocean to go around the earth. So it only took 80 days to spread that. And how many 87 days since 2011?
Shit. Now they're cutting you off. Every time when you start, could you please repeat that information about Fukushima? As soon as you start breaking in the numbers and shit with the ocean, all suddenly you're click. Bullshit.
Okay. Fukushima, it only takes 87 days. 87 days for the ocean to go around the earth. So how many days have there been since 2011? Every 3 months, that water circulates all the way around.
Yes. And a fun side note. The people, the corporation that owns the Fukushima disaster wants to take more irradiated water and soil and dump it into the sea. Yes,
TIMCO.
They want to do that.
It's called TIMCO. TEMPO. TIMCO.
TIMCO.
Yeah, that company. But what they've also done is there's photographs. If you go on Dana show, He's a nuclear proctologist. That's what he calls himself. Dana was on his website. You could see bags of debris that were collected by the site, bagged up, and within probably a driveway distance, they have rice fields that are growing the rice. So if you know about radiation, it stays in your body. So if the cows eat the grass, the ground is radiated. Then the cows eat the grass, it gets inside the cows. Then we get it from drinking the milk and eating the meat.
Right.
So they're making sake products.
Rice wine.
And seeing Europe say that they're accepting food from Japan. Any of that food, any of those, even down to parts, the Toyota parts in the car, anything can be radiated and shipped anywhere.
Yep.
So they're shipping free rice.
You tied
all
that
around the world
with what's going on in China, sister. Tie that what you just said about Japan with their radiation. Tie that in with all the germs, the new basically pneumonia that's coming out of China. No one knows about it yet, but trust me, they'll be hip to it soon enough.
I don't know too much. I haven't really gone into that one. What I've been going into China about is their tech. Apple, Google, all of these tech companies have been sharing their information with China, and there's a lawsuit against the tech companies. They're doing human experiments with tech.
Yeah, they're okay. Check it out. The Chinese are one of the premier users of this gene editing, basically system called CRISPR. And, that's how they went in and altered the twins' DNA, the two little girls, to make them so-called age resistance. Now, those are just some of the, I guess, stories that we know. But basically, when you really break it down, in some sort of secret research facility, you could be using CRISPR technology to quite literally design an Uberman genetically to basically be whatever characteristics you personally want to see come forth. And then you can take that embryo and implant it in a woman, and bada bing, bada boom, you have yourself your prototype.
Well, I'm also talking about different ways they're chipping people. And that whole idea back in the day about the bionic man.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if they're doing things like what you see on Star Trek with the people, the Borg people, but they're incorporating biotechnology.
Well, yes.
Neurotechnology.
I already told everybody, what was it last week? The chip is coming. Whenever your little pussy ass corporation or company that you personally work for that puts food on your table says, look, you're going to go down to HR. There's a little phlebotomist down there. They're going to tie your shit off and inject you with this chip. And if you don't like it, there's the door. You're going to be rolling up your little sleeves and taking a chip.
There's another way. I just talked to my doctor about this, and she really believes that it's not going to be very long at all. In order to even now, this is a conspiracy theory thing that I've heard. Now, I don't know if it's true, but in the Obama medical, the AC, what is that called?
Hold on.
The Obamacare medical.
Yeah.
That in a certain year, all the babies that are born are supposed to be chipped at birth. And the way, not only how you said jobs, but you won't be able to receive your Medicare or your medical insurance or let's say your food stamps or your welfare without being chipped. That's another way. So yes, you're right about the jobs, but if you're going to receive federal funding, that's how I think they're going to do it.
Well, there's already a comment or a chatter. The military was chipping babies in the late 80s.
I believe it. Well, our mutual friend has been chipped, so without her knowledge. And that's how she found out. She found this article from trying to find a lawyer to help work with her case. Well, when she was doing her research, that's when she found that Google and all these different companies have a lawsuit pending for sharing that technology with China and China misusing it.
Well, you know, the sad thing about lawsuits, if you don't have some sort of military or army to really put, I mean, we can't put really the strain on China nowadays. You can't march your little army up in there no more. And you certainly can't economically sanction them, because the sad thing about that, they can turn around. Okay, Joe, you want to play game? We play game. We take you to war. And next thing you know, we're over here fucking, oh my God, where's our Walmart's at? Where's our little, you know, Sears Roebucks? Where's all of our shit? You know,
speaking of that trade, now this is something else I saw in the news that I was checking out. There's earthquakes going on down in Puerto Rico.
Yes,
they've been tremoring for like 100 days, and they've had, now you know I'm from California. They've had 5.4 earthquakes up to a 6 point. It's basically just crumbled all of Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico's in a crumble, and the hospitals, they've crumbled, and the people are getting treated outside. Their power lines are down again. So in that region, there's been a lot of earthquakes. And this one man said that what his fear is, and I can't remember his name. I don't catch all that. I don't know if I even emailed that one to you, but his fear is that the Panama Canal could crack. And if something happens to the Panama Canal, because those islands are right there in that area, if the Panama Canal cracks, the trade will be stopped. That would come in from, most everything comes from the east, like from Europe, the east, and the west coast over here wouldn't be able to get our supplies for Walmart.
Oh, no.
And for those different companies, that the trade would be totally crippled if the Panama Canal collapses.
Yes,
so that's something else that I've been looking at about that one too.
Now, wasn't there
and
something
you saw
about
that volcano erupting too? So I don't know what all that's doing over there in that central mid part of the ocean. You know, I don't know how it's connected, but it just seems like Mother Earth is a little pissed off, and she's doing things to retaliate
from the savagery that's been placed on. Hold on.
I think she'll wipe us all out to protect herself.
China to buy the Panama Canal.
Say that again?
I had to use my cell phone for the internet here. Hold on. Well, check this out. Here, hold on. I'm going to put this on the screen. All right, this is from my cell phone. While Americans slept, China gained a stranglehold on Panama. The Panama Canal, a strategic waterway. Yeah, so while we were sleeping, this is January 6th, by the way. All right, hold on.
Oh, wow, that's a good one.
All right. Decades have passed since the tiny Panama ranked amongst Washington's big national security concern. In the 1980s, U.S. invasion, notwithstanding, the two nations have enjoyed large unilateral, basically, relationship. Now, hold on. A boom transit. Okay, watch. Under President Donald Trump's watch, Washington has stood idly as China rode into Panama and established a major hemispheric foothold alongside the waterway essential to U.S. commerce and national security. So there you go.
Well, there's a double problem then, isn't it? Yeah. So it could actually have a
Red Dawn
or a charge, since Trump likes to do these arbitrary trade charges. Then they might do an arbitrary trade charge on us just to use the canal, huh?
Well, oh my God. Well, what would happen? No, seriously, sister, what would happen if somehow China, inadvertently just straight up executed one of our officials, talking about, the USA was about ready to make a preemptive strike on us. So, we just had to handle business because, you know what I'm saying? Like they did the Iran move on us.
Well, this president, it reminds me of some lawless cowboy.
Well, he is what the people
he thinks
want.
That, is just, by his might is right. And so today, they were picking the different what they call them managers for the impeachment today. So they also had added that Russia has hacked Burisma, that company that Joe Biden's son was working for.
Yeah.
So that is still in the interest of Trump. So, like I was saying, all that stuff going on in Ukraine is really just Russian interference still. The Russians that are in Ukraine are spies. You know, they're just spies.
But do you not see that to be odd?
Talking to them, all Trump's people are all working together with them. And what I see with that, the common denominator is a small sombreros. The chiquito sombreros.
Oh my God. I dig that.
Yeah.
All right.
They've got our tongues tied now.
Oh yeah.
Where we don't have the freedom of speech to speak about their
treachery,
their anything that they do. And if you look at some of the videos of the mobs that are just they look bloodthirsty when they're in regards to the African refugees,
right?
That come in there. Oh my God! You guys Google some of that stuff. The treatment that they're doing to the African refugees that come in, the Black African refugees that are coming in, and the way that they're treating them, and they don't want any refugee. They want this totally white, totally pure bloodline as far as they're concerned.
But there is no way to achieve that. Now, one thing about the refugee is that in Germany, we have a presence over there. I will send some information about. Now, Google this. I can't Google it right now, but German refugee porn, or Habjib porn. It's a fetish.
Are you saying porn?
Porn, Porn. It is a fetish that has taken over Germany. All right. People are going nuts trying to get at these young African men and women for sexual desires. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
they've been doing that and these different, they're opening orphanages and stuff like that in Africa, those pedophiles.
Oh my God. Yeah. See, I'm going to have Sister Sandra on. And we're going to go all into that. She has just came back from a trip in Kemet. I'm going to call her up, have her on, do a show, hopefully this weekend. And she's going to explain.
Did you see Google is being sued in Africa for child slave labor in those coltan mines?
See, this is what I'm talking about. Look, this is how and then we're going to sit up here and buy their full ass products. We're going to buy their full ass products, thinking we're doing something, we're woke, but we're literally buying the bullshit that's putting our people in danger, man. Putting the kids in danger. What
it looks like to me is piracy. We're just land pirates.
Yeah.
We're pirating everything, whether it's the Amazon's water, whether it's we're still under a state of emergency.
Yes,
you know Trump lifted that. You know when he shut down the government, what was it, 2018?
Right.
He made us under the state of emergency. We're still under a state of emergency. That means that the government can control the roads, the water, your power, everything.
Right. They can control your body too.
Every single thing. So these things are being privatized. Water is being privatized. And somebody on something I was reading, it said that water is not a human right.
You don't have no bootstrap, no resources. You don't need no water, nor air.
And there are laws against water collection.
Yes. In the Pacific Northwest, it's known you cannot collect rainwater. That's BS. You should be able to collect rainwater. You should be able to drill your own well to get to the aquifer and get your water. But it's
so we need to find more ways to for Black people to connect with foreign trade for food, foreign trade for different things that we need, because we're the only people that don't have a root that is rooted into another country as an immigrant. We weren't immigrants.
Right.
So we never had the connection of trade flow between Africa and ourselves.
Right.
So there's a lot of people now trying to build those connections. They're asking for farmers to come from the United States to help teach and help run farms in Africa. So they're trying to set up ways that hopefully we can get in a lot easier.
Well,
Now, I don't know if you guys heard of Irritated Genie, but he had a post on the website that was off asking young people to come to 7 different African countries. I believe it was 7. And they said, you pay for your ticket and your passport, and they will set it up. If you're accepted, they'll set it up so that you're given like a little training about etiquette in African culture. Then you go over to Africa, and there's a family that will meet you and keep you straight. And they're giving you $40,000 to start a business. They don't want you going there getting a job. They don't want you doing anything but providing services that will make and grow economies, African economies that will trade with the U.S. And so then they said, and they give you 6 months to get that $40,000 back to them, I guess. And the money is supposed to stay circulating. Once you pay it back, it'll pay for more families. So they're trying to get about 100 families at a time. They've already done it, I guess. And she said that when she went to Africa, the connections and the paperwork were hard. So they're smoothing those things out by people that know how to do it. So if you go on Irritated Genie and check his website, there's more information about that. But whether it's true or not, I can't tell you. But I'm telling you that it is being offered. They're asking for young families to leave the United States and come and live in Africa and start businesses and then with the payback is a 60-40. You keep 60% of your company and pay back 40% or something like that. But they're looking for ways. They said that return to Africa, Nigeria, that's fake. That's not real.
What happens to the people who go back to those areas?
Well, they had some type of a program like that a few years ago, but it's not in operation right now. So if you see posts about that, that's not supposed to be true. But the ones with Irritated Genie, those sounded right to me. Those didn't sound off. That sounded doable.
I mean, I'm wondering, is there anybody that actually participated in the program that you can get some sort of first? It's like, yeah, homie, yeah, I went through it and I'm over here right now. Because if we don't find no one who's actually completed the program, is it a little bit suspect? Like maybe.
Right, exactly. So that's why I'm saying you guys do your research, but these are things that I've heard are opportunities. So I think there's like 7 different African countries that they're trying to work with to ease the paperwork and all that. So that so that's something that I've heard, so.
No, I mean, and that's what it is. That is totally what it is. But I think we have to go to a higher note because I've seen history. I've seen a little bit of history. I've seen over 40 plus years of earthly history with my own 2 eyes. And I become relatively suspicious of anybody advocating you're going to go outside the United States and build something big. And, if you get out of line, these people ain't going to come in and clip your wings. I'm just suspicious of that because I see it happen so many times and it's continually happening.
Well, they made us so afraid of Africa. We're afraid of voodoo, and that's our original religion. That's our original religion. We're afraid of spirituality that's taught by our ancestors. So they made us fear going there, and now they're using Boko Haram and military hits and things like that. This one brother that's over there in Burkina Faso, his name is Fig or Trapflix. He said he would rather die in a terrorist attack than have to watch over his shoulder every day like he was in the hood.
What? That's
He
hard.
said, if you
That's
had
a hard
if
thing
you
to
given me
say.
a choice, in other words, I live peaceable most of the time, and a boom and a suicide bomber comes along, or a group of these people, he'd rather take his chances with that than take his chances on a day-to-day basis with militarized police all through the United States killing us or taking us to jail. They've been rounding. Oh, that's another thing. Everybody, please go to the DOJ website on YouTube. On December the 18th, 2019, Operation Relentless has gone into effect. And they are targeting, they said, violent criminals. They put them in 7 different cities. This William Barr DOJ announcement, FBI, the ATF, with all the different federal groups working with the state and local. And they're in your emails, they're going to be doing that whole thing. And in Virginia, they've been making these red flag laws. So that means you don't have to commit a crime. Before, if you call the police, they'd say, well, we can't come because the crime hasn't been committed. Now, with the red flag law, but what you say online, if they feel you're a threat, they can red flag you and come and take all your weapons.
Yep, there it is. Yeah.
So between the red flag and Operation Relentless, Fig said that he got a text from one of the brothers in Florida saying they're rounding them up and they're putting on fake charges. Well, here where I'm at, in a little bitty, like I said, rural area, a small town, about 2 weeks ago, they announced on TV that they hit these clips, arrested 30 of them, but they had 100 FBI agents.
Damn.
Here. And that was before that Operation Relentless was announced. And they had been having that investigation going on for 2 months before they hit them. So Fig said that in a dream, he was being rousted by cops in those paramilitary outfits, and they were trying to arrest him. And he's in Africa, and he's having this dream about America. And they had grabbed him by the arm. They had put some fake dope on, trying to arrest him. And so he said it was a black man and a Mexican woman or Latina. And I said, I'll be doggone. When you listen to that Detroit announcement, it was in the city of Detroit. That's one of the cities. The black police chief made the announcement, and it was a Latina female talking at the mic too. So his dream was so close. It was a black and Latina. And so they're in Detroit, Albuquerque, somewhere in Kansas, Wisconsin. Wisconsin's nothing but a hop, skip, and a jump to Chicago.
Right.
Where Minister Farrakhan's at. And he's been knowing that they're coming after him. He's been saying that. So they're posted right there in Wisconsin. And they said that they get a lot of guns from Wisconsin and then take them over into Chicago. So, brothers, if you can find some new creative ways to use your skills that you've been doing on the street, flip it into something legal real quick. Use your creativity and flip it into something legal. Sell cars, sell something else, create something else. I really believe that I really don't see this oppressive government as much as I've been believing that we might be able to get reparations. By the way the Democrats have just turned their back and ignored us.
Right.
I heard Joe Biden, I call Jim, he said they gave him a question about reparations. He turned that reparations question into, there's immigrants that are strong and want to work hard. He went straight from reparations into immigration.
Right.
So they're not thinking anything but to overrun us so that we don't have the black vote power that
Well,
we
you
had.
don't have black
Like
economic
giving immigrants a
viability.
driver's license, the next thing they'll be doing is voting. So this is the thing. So I look at it this way: as slaves, what do we have?
Nothing.
But what do we create?
A little something.
What do we create?
Culture.
So all the things that we created are still in us, and it's still in our DNA, our latent DNA. We had slaves building bridges, doing engineering with no pencil and paper.
Mm.
So you can't tell me what young black people can't do. Yes, we can. We got to have a different mindset.
Well, yeah. Listen, it's all about being decent. It's all about ask anybody you ever meet. You know, I don't care what race or it's like, is there a fundamental difference between a decent person and a not so decent person? And everyone would say, yeah. And would you say a decent person says that if a person or a group has been wronged, it is a right and just thing to compensate said group and show said group that they are valuable, they are valued, they are appreciated, they are supported in endeavors to strengthen. No,
we're not, and we never have been.
But the reason why is because there's not that many decent people. The bottom line is there's not that many decent people.
We've been geoengineered or socially engineered in this too, so that we don't have a family core. If you have black men that were being used as studs, they had no connection to their children.
Correct.
You made babies and they sold them, and you had no emotional connection. You didn't want to have an emotional connection. It would just hurt worse.
Right.
So we've used these different mechanisms to stop the pain. And if you just go to the 60s where they would do a house check to see if your man was in the house. And if your man was there, you would get cut off of food stamps and your welfare, if that's what you had, or your Section 8 subsidy.
Right.
So this has been engineered so that our families are damaged. And then you turn around like Biden in 1994. If you go Google, it's about an 8-minute speech where he calls us predators. And he says, I don't care why they're like this. I don't want them hitting my mother over the head with a lead pipe. Do you? And that's the speech he gave at the Senate. It sounded just like the birth of a nation in 1915.
But he said today, I got more support in the black community than anybody up here on stage. No,
that's what he thinks.
Nobody gives a damn about that old rascal.
And I want to apologize to the whole global black family that might be listening when I leaned all my support to ADOS and I interrupted True. True was getting ready to tell the truth on Yvette Carnell. He was getting ready to be the first one to say something was wrong with these people. And I stopped him. Family, I apologize. He was right. He was 100% right. Whether it was looking in her eyes, I don't know what he was getting ready to say, because I called up and interrupted him and said, no. We need to listen to them, and we need to vote down ballot. No, we don't. I'm so sorry, family. I got misled too. But it came out that Tone Talks, he was an LA prosecuting attorney. So guess who he worked for? California. Who was the AG of California? Attorney General of California. Think, family.
Wasn't it
Kamala Harris?
Yes.
So he was one of Kamala Harris's employees. You understand how they're trying to they're a Democratic shield?
Yep. It's a dog and pony show.
If not, what Mark from Anaheim was saying is this is a Steve Bannon thing. See, I still haven't been able to say that. When you get back down to it, you have Byron Allen, which Judge Joe Brown said he had issues with CBS. Well, Byron Allen's up CBS's butt, right? Well, CBS is owned by Sinclair Media, Sinclair Broadcasting, who's owned by who? The Mercers? Come on, follow me, family, on the Mueller report. The Mercers have been working with Cambridge Analytica, the young man with the pink hair that testified before the Senate. He said that the reason he got so alarmed is they were trying to figure out ways to suppress the black vote. and all that information was going to St. Petersburg, Russia. But when ADOS tried to activate us off the website to show up in D.C. at the Supreme Court on a totally different issue other than reparations, what the hell? You want us to go help some millionaire, billionaire man, and he's a puppet, just like Oprah Winfrey. He's a puppet, a billionaire puppet.
Yes.
For Sinclair Broadcasting, for these so, and then I thought about it. How are you going to lose a law, the 1866 law? You can't lose a law just by using it for president in a damn lawsuit. So they were making us feel we were going to lose our 1866. It's going to be struck down. No, it was just used as past practice.
Yeah,
In past practice, they cited it. So none of it made sense. And I just wanted to apologize, family. I'm not following ADOS.
Follow yourself, sister. You are more than adequate to be your own fucking political leader, your own spiritual leader, your own social leader. You have access. You have the power. All you have to do is utilize it.
I was so happy, though, because after all these years, this is the first time in history that Black people have been able to talk. I'm talking to you, and you're in Missouri,
Right.
and I'm here in California, and we're being listened to around the world.
Right.
This is historic. We've never been able to communicate. Our communication's always been illegal.
Yes, or
illegal.
hijacked.
Little kids in New York right now that are standing around together playing are being rousted up as gang members and put in a database right now. So still, that's how the tent churches were created. We couldn't have a church, so we had to go congregate illegally and hope we didn't get caught reading the Bible or whatever. So this has been going on. So now we're online and our communication gets disrupted all the time. So that's just part of the.
I got a question for you,
sister.
sister. I'm not trying to cut you off. Got a question. This is important. Really important from Brother Al. Ask Sister Kathy, what does she know about the plane spraying so-called jet juice on the kids in the school in the hood?
They sprayed my family. My family is in South Central. I've been trying to get a hold of my daughter to find out. But yes, they dumped that jet fuel. Now that was a Chinese plane, mind you. That was a Chinese jetliner. They said it was trying to do an emergency landing, but do you think I believe that?
But we're gonna dump the
now,
fuel.
Whenever you go over LA, they put that. This is like what you call pollution. The pollution that they do in Black neighborhoods. The sound pollution. If you live there, you hear those planes. You can count them in the sky when they come in at like 6 o'clock or 9 o'clock. They just line up hundreds of planes coming into land. Anything could happen.
Right.
Anything could happen. But they put that pathway right down Manchester Boulevard. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And remember that. And if you remember the rebellion with Rodney King, Manchester and Figueroa, Manchester and Western, those are the places that were hit during the rebellion. So that plane, there are schools and homes and, I just don't know what the result will be. I don't know what damage and if it was just jet fuel, because I don't trust anything after these chemtrails. What the hell was it? Was it really jet fuel?
Yeah,
I don't trust these son of bitches. I don't.
I mean, you can trust them. It's not like they don't have a history of doing unauthorized experiments on people.
Well, I can trust them to do that. I can trust them to be crooked. Yeah, I can trust that. So that just means that we're never going to know what they sprayed on those people
until it's too late.
My family.
I mean, think about this.
My grandson's down there.
Well, a
baby.
I don't
want a child.
I'm just saying, don't hate the mess. Don't hate the messenger, please, sister. Don't hate just the message.
Oh no.
Here comes the message. When we see
Yeah, I know.
extra unnormal case of pneumonia coming out of this region, then perhaps you'll understand when I say that the juice had been made. I said this before, and now apparently the juice has been sprayed.
Yeah,
Time will tell.
Yeah.
Time will tell.
yeah, yeah. And family, another thing to watch out for. They can make these illusions. They made an illusion, a computer illusion of Jesus up in the sky coming back.
Oh, that's Project Blue Bling.
Okay, so they were talking about, they did a test, a game. Okay, this was supposed to be a game with a private tech company, which used our NSA, FBI, and Homeland Security in a scenario, in a doomsday election scenario.
Mm.
Turns out these guys are like Mossad. It's a private company, but the dudes are from Israel and some special unit. So they know exactly what our guys would do in a scenario. They took our top people and ran a scenario of hacking self-driving cars, and they run into people at the election place. Some terrorist gets a hold of a bus and runs into the election place, and they shut down the election. They're trying to find a scenario so that they can shut down the 2020 election.
You know it.
And one of the ways they used was they can actually make those deep fake, so that you can think it's the president, or you could think it's one of your local news commentators. They can make deep fakes like that. So you think you're getting the news, and they're telling you 911, get on the FEMA bus. They can make a fake scenario.
You know
with these, by putting different banners on our television, on our phones, sending off alarms, alerts. So be prepared for any alarm or alert trying to tell you to do something and go somewhere and get in the bus.
Get in the box. It's like telling the chickens at KFC, jump in the box. And then and we go right into the box and then wonder why we get eaten.
There you go.
Wonder.
So I would like to see you do some more survival. I enjoyed that. I watched you chop that tree, and I thought about all the slaves that had to clear this United States with wooden axes. You said my axe is dull, and I started thinking, Lord, you're lucky you got one with metal.
Oh, damn.
And I saw you sharpening it. So I think a good lesson, a good survival lesson, we teach you how to sharpen your axe with a rock.
Right.
People don't know how to do that. Like you said, start a fire.
Yeah.
And be able to tell the difference between a dead tree and a dormant tree.
Right.
That makes a big difference when you're trying to chop it down for wood. So survival strategies, I would like to see you do more of that. Because I really think that these idiots would use these weapons, and then it's going to be like, maybe like the Book of Eli, where he had to use that bow and arrow to shoot that kitty to eat.
Right.
So the idea that bow and arrows were good, that idea of a BB gun for small birds, and you said baking soda. I would also add bleach.
Yes.
Put bleach in your backpacks, because you don't know what kind of animal you might have to clean, or who you might have to bury, and you need to clean your hands and stuff. You don't know what's going to happen.
All the scenario, and one of the most important things you can have, and I should be stressing this, is cordage. Whether it's shoestrings, rope, thick, small, you need cordage. Stuff to bind stuff, to tie stuff together so you can make it in bundles and move shit. Because you're going to have to be fast on foot.
If it's nuclear, say that again, because I don't want to forget. I'm interrupting you. But if it's nuclear, do not go outside. You need to take plastic and tape your vents, tape the windows, and you need to seal off any place that air can come in. So if you don't have those supplies, get some duct tape and some plastic, some cardboard, or whatever you need. Like right now, I have pillows stuffed in my fireplace, up in the chimney. I mean, up where I can reach it.
Right.
Because I know I can't get to that. I can't do everything, all that. I just went ahead and put them in there.
You better not build no fire. This thing's not, the flue's jammed up.
You know, so have your plastic, have your duct tape. That's not expensive. You can get that. You know, you can get that just picking up different stuff. You can just.
But see this, but the little things. But the most important thing you said, you got to do this stuff ahead of time. Once the event takes place, once you find yourself in Katrina, it's too late to be looking for a boat and a fucking life vest. You had better have this shit prior to the flood.
You live by a dam. If you live by a dam, most of the Army Corps of Engineering has told us that almost all of our dams ain't worth shit. So if you live on land and you're by a damn boat won't be a bad idea, y'all.
Not at all.
A boat's not a bad idea. Find out close, because my little city is by a dam, and the whole place would be underwater if that dam broke.
And we're talking about a vicious flash flood. You know, one thing that would be really beneficial is to find your high tension power lines. Every community has them coming in. And on Google Earth, while you have the time, you follow that to the source of the factory. And then you map that, whether it's with actually taking and printing that or hand drawing it, because those power lines would be impromptu roads. When the roads become too dangerous to travel, you can take the back way. Now, they're going to be dangerous as well, but they'll be significantly safer than walking your ass down the road where you can be getting pop shot from both sides.
Oh, yeah. They're also called fire trails.
Yes. Yes.
Fire trails and those utility trails, yes.
Yes. Those are essential. Or even know how your local rivers and streams operate.
Sister Black Sunrise has been saying stay out of the national parks, though.
Well, for a couple of reasons. But yeah, I mean, listen, the whole goal is to get to the water. Honestly, I'm going to cut to the fucking chase. You got to get to either the fucking mountains, you either got to get to the deep desert, or you got to get to the water, the ocean, or at least a big lake to where you're a mile or two off the fucking coast. So you can kind of float out there and come in for provisions and then get back out there. Now, if you can't do that, then you're going to be victimized by whatever regime or warlord situation you got rolling in your particular area. Because when the collapse happens, when the money's no good, when the nationalists are set loose upon the earth, then, yeah, it's going to be a bad time for humanity.
You know, I had a dream. You say community. I had a dream that something happened, and we have two big water that, you know, it's a water company. We have two big wells, and at the bottom where there's a food max, and I saw our community gunned up patrolling the food max and the water tower in a dream.
Oh man. Oh man. Yeah.
And that dream was several years ago. But I also had a dream about what Saddam Hussein did when he spilled all that oil. I had a dream of fish full of oil. And that was when he was unleashing those pipes. So I've had these different dreams, you know, so I don't know what that meant, but I know that the church, a lot of these churches, they're gunned up, they're armed up. A lot of the churches, you saw that church in Texas.
Yep.
They had some guy come in with a gun and 5 different people stood up to
they're racing to shoot him. Like, let me get him. Yeah, they blew his ass away less than 5 seconds after he made his first. But 2 people died. A black man and a white man died in that attack. Nobody wants to say that, but that's who died up in that attack. And it was an older white man that downed the fucking shooter. That shooter was not taken in alive. That shooter was taken out on a stretcher.
Was that a black shooter?
A white shooter.
So, but a black man got shot in the crossfire?
No, the black man was a deacon and the other guy was another church officer. They were both church officers. They get blasted. Boom, bloom. And then, oh boy, gets blasted. Bloom.
Oh, they sure didn't say that.
Yeah. So once you research, and maybe I'll do a story about. I mean, there's so many great topics that I came, now that we've talked, we can delve into farther. But this radiation thing is of the utmost importance. It's important to have some iodine on
Yes.
hand. And I mean, the iodine in your salt is just not enough. You had to actually get liquid iodine.
There's iodine and there's also charcoal pills.
Yes. And that's going to
Charcoal
help you on
pills
the
and
cellular
iodine.
level.
Cod, was it cod liver oil? What kind of oil? Some kind of oil that cleans you out.
I know castor oil does, but I don't know how.
Maybe. I don't know. It was like 3 6s, like that old fashioned stuff.
Oh, yes.
I forget what's in there, but whatever that is, that's important too. I don't have the resources to even collect and get these things together. So when I saw you do that makeshift backpack,
right,
that was great. Because I know I can get me some, rice. I could get a bowl. If I got some water, I could, and those noodles and that package of cheese. That's nothing but macaroni and cheese.
Right.
That's just boxes of macaroni and cheese, and you take out the pack.
And you put it in your little pack to save up on space.
Take out those macaroni and cheese things and put them in a bag because animals will get your food too. You got to put your food up with the rope. Yes. That's why he said ropes and cord, because animals will eat whatever you got. They'll bum rush your little campsite. 'Cause I'm a camper too, like True. Yes. I'm used to being able to swim in the river. Yes. And I know how to do quite a bit, as far as survival, because I've been a camper. So those camping skills become critical. But you don't want to put soap in the water, you guys.
No.
Don't put soap in the water when you're washing your stuff. Don't do that because it'll mess up the water for everybody.
Yeah, sometimes it's a good idea, like if you can, and this might just be a luxury, if you can't have a big pot that somehow you can maneuver, you scoop up water that you're going to kind of clean with, and you pour that gray water off into the ground, away from the stream. The ground will percolate it and clean it. You know what I'm saying? But we get lazy, we start pissing and shitting in the water, then all you're doing is making an epic mess for everybody else.
Right. So that's why the shovel is important.
Yes.
You want to dig yourself a hole.
Yes, on the tree.
And that also keeps people from knowing that you're there. If you don't cover your waste, other people and other animals will know that you're there. That's one way to give yourself away.
Right.
Make sure you take care of your waste. Dig holes and cover them. But I would love it if we did more survival. If people would call in with survival ideas and strategy.
I think I just grabbed the phone one day. We'll go to some spots and we'll just get busy, man. We'll just get busy in the woods. Like, in other words, even though it's not wartime, but this kind of act as if it is, and stealth in there and do stealthy stuff. Not where you're hurting land or messing up anyone's property, but to show people how to maneuver under hostile intent.
This Virginia law. Your friends, they're trying to make it illegal for each other to teach each other how to use guns.
What are you talking about? Elaborate, please.
They're making it illegal for military people to show civilians how to use weapons. They're even talking about even at the shooting range and stuff. Yeah, they're trying to make sure that the military, other vets, former vets, are not teaching civilians how to use weapons. That's part of that stuff. Did you get the one I sent you on Virginia?
No,
Guns and Gadgets is one of the websites. Guns and Gadgets. He keeps up with the Virginia laws. They're right now trying to take their weapons in Virginia.
Well, doesn't it make sense? I don't know who sent me this. I'm right offhand, but the network sent me a article about the UN actually taking applications right now, all the way up until I believe February 20th of this year, for people detention and disarmament officers, detention and disarmament officers.
Right. That's a UN thing. Right. And that UN can come here and do that. Yes. 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 Absolutely.
Well, this
absolutely, that's absolutely true.
We are getting to the time where a lot of you patriots out there are going to be put to the test by my cold steel hands. They're going to come for your guns like they did in Australia. They're going to come for your guns like they did in the Weimar Republic.
New Zealand, they did it after that mosque shooting. Yep. So that guy left that manifesto. They started taking guns in New Zealand.
Yes.
And I saw some type of advertisement for Bloomberg, and it's talking about gun safety. Family, anytime you hear the word safety, it's not to protect us. Oh, and this lady, let me see if I can find it. I just saw her last night. And when she said about communities, she was dealing with land. And she was talking about the definition of community and how they can take your land with eminent domain and things like that. Let me see if I can find this and give you guys this, because I thought this was real interesting. Where are my glasses at?
For the uninitiated, I want to translate the Latin eminent domain. Brother, we're going to take your shit and give you less than market value for it. Okay,
here it is. Her name is Rosa. It's Koire. Corey. UN, Agenda 2030, exposed. And it's under John N-O-R-D, Nord. John Nord's site on YouTube. Rosa, R-O-S-A-K-O-I-R-E, UN, Agenda 2030, exposed. Okay, did you get that? Did you write it down, anybody?
If you haven't, just rewind that because I know the audio is crystal clear right now. There's no more lagging. There's no more.
Rosa, her last name is Koire, and it says UN Agenda 2030 exposed. There's another one, and it's called Trilateral Commission on Technocracy. In other words, Technocracy. And that's another one from John Nord on his site. And here's one more from John Nord, his site. It's about the airport being totally using your bio feed. So your fingerprint, your facial recognition, and they actually have no people in the airport. There's no people at the desk. It's all computer operated.
Yep.
The dude's name is John Nord. That's where I found this at. And I'm going to send this one real quick to you. The one about the lady with 2030 agenda.
Let me jump on my cell phone, then I can get to it. Because I got the
that was a trip. But this lady's a real lady. I mean, a real lady. Okay, there you go. There's that one.
Yeah, Rosa. Exposing Agenda 21.
And here's Technocracy. Technocracy's coming.
Oh, here she is right
there. These things will be real interesting for us to look at. And the last one that's coming is about the airport and the facial recognition.
Hold on.
And those are modern airports. It looked like something that was going on in China or something. I don't know. But it's a totally
the United States, California.
And it's in some of this stuff is in German.
What's that?
Some of it's in German.
Oh,
I think this guy might be out of Germany, but some of it's in English off of his channel.
Okay.
There you go. That's the ones I got off of his channel. I thought were worthwhile.
That's awesome. I appreciate it. Like I said,
and I really hope that you get a hold of Black Sunrise and get in the Discord group so you can see some of the information we have there.
That's that I have to get off my butt and get in there on in the Discord discussion.
It's real easy. You just go to Google Play, that Play Store, download that Discord app, and then call Black Sunrise or just try to get in and let her know that you want to be invited in as a friend. But you know her number. Call her and tell her that you want to go on, and she'll let you in because she doesn't let everybody in.
Yeah, and rightfully so. I mean, even with this show here, you know, we've been having problems with, you know, from time to time trolls. You know, even the best of or worst of us gets trolls coming through, and all they do is detract from the discussion. This is all about the discussion. This is all about bringing into the actual atmosphere or reality our energies, our thoughts, our desires, our passions, and you know, or we can commonly refer to it as our truth, the truth. And if we don't, or if we won't, or if we give up, I think we already know what is set for us. The unspoken reality that is set for us all. I'm not trying to go out like that.
I just keep trying to give information because I feel like I'm cannon fodder. I'm old. I'm not going to be able to keep up with you guys. I'll be the one left behind. But until then, I'm trying to use all my energy to put out whatever that I see that, because I have, you know, I'm old and I'm not working, so I'm able to, you know, really dig in places that most people don't have time to do.
And that's a blessing. That is a blessing because you're bringing information. These young people, they're busy working, living life, raising families, doing whatever.
Like my kids. They're so busy working, trying to provide and do and keep up with bills. My kids don't even watch the news. So I don't even know if they knew about LA getting sprayed.
Right.
If it didn't come on their cell phone as an alert. You know, I don't know that they picked up the remote control and turned on the nightly news. They don't do that.
Oh.
You know, they'd rather avoid the news because the news is all bad. Well, yeah, it is, but you still need to face everything.
Yeah, you know, you can't be the little kid. I don't see the big bad peas on my plate. My eyes are closed. I don't see them peas. No, open your fucking eyes. Look at the damn peas. Open your mouth, chew those fuckers up, and go on about your business. You know, this is what we have to do. We're gonna have to quit shying away from the power. We're gonna have to reach out. We're gonna have to seize the power. Some of us will be burnt to a crisp in this process. But those
I'm
who
just
survive,
saying, like Julius Malema.
no,
niggas are scared. Niggas are scared. Y'all scared. He goes. Wait a minute. We're 90% of South Africa, but we're scared of the 10% of white people.
Mm.
He said. You're afraid. You have to be afraid, otherwise you would do something with these people controlling everything in South Africa. 90% of the population. Well, even if we got, like you said, the Patriots, you know, it's still, you got the 1% against the other 99%.
Are fearful because that 1%
we're afraid to move.
Can crush you, sister. You know, think about when you was younger and you was working for some food. If you didn't play ball, I'll crush you, sister cat. I'll make sure you don't ever work in this town. And you know he ain't playing.
Right.
That's what these young people are self-employed.
I became self-employed. I didn't like being threatened that I couldn't wear dreadlocks.
Oh, there it is.
I couldn't wear braids. They made a law in California now. It's called the Crown Law. They can't discriminate against you because of your hair down here.
Oh, but we didn't hire you. It's not because of your hair. We're gonna put down something else because it's just because of your nose. It's because of your eyes. It's because of your ears. It's because, you know, that's just the most ridiculous bullshit. If a motherfucker's not gonna hire you because he's racist as fuck, he's not gonna hire you. I don't care how many fucking laws you got. How can you prove he didn't hire you?
That's exactly what we found out, because most of the. Do you know the most college-educated part of the country is black women with college degrees, and we can't get hired?
Or
I literally had to dumb down. I'm a professional photographer. I'm an artist, so I do a lot of different stuff.
Gotcha.
I was taught in high school that we weren't going to work on a job for 25 years anymore, that you would have at least 2 or 3 professions. So, you know, I've been a teacher, I'm a photographer, I'm a jeweler, I make this homeopathic creams and stuff. I do a lot of different things, and I have in my life,
Right.
And that's the one thing, is that we weren't being prepared, and now we're told go to college and you get $100,000 loan, and then you can't ever pay it off. They don't teach you before you go there that they're going to have credit cards that you're going to be able to get. You can get as many credit cards as you want to sign up for. Charge them all up, and you're in, like you said, slave. You're working as a slave from then on. They don't teach the young kids when you go to college, they're going to offer you a credit card. Use them for emergency only. You know,
right. I don't use them at all.
These credit binds that we get into from the Chiquitos Sombreros and their usury fees are making it
usury.
Are making it so that the millennials and the Gen X or whatever, they're only a few $1,000s apart. And none of them can buy a house like the baby boomers. That was on the Black Authority with Jason Black, and he had a message to the millennials like about 2 shows ago. So you guys look that up and listen to that, because what he's saying is that these people that it would be wonderful if we get reparations, right?
It'd be righteous.
But we're not even getting reparations for weed. He did a show about trying to get weed licenses, and it's based on zip code in LA, and the gentrifiers are getting it, and they use bots. So the black people that got their doors kicked down over weed, we can't even get into the weed industry.
Nope.
That we set up. You know, so, you know, we set up these different industries, even like hip hop or different things that we've done, and we allow them to take it over. We got to be more protective of our creative and our intellectual property, and stop letting these people get the you know, like with Prince. He wrote that slave on his face and got away from Warner Brothers. And at the very end, don't you know, he went back with Warren Buffett's ass, rode on Warren Buffett's plane when he had that supposedly issue. And then the next day died. And then guess what? Warren Buffett owns all his shit again. His whole catalog. The very next day, they were putting out him with his butt out. The stuff he didn't want that out in the public anymore. He had said, look, you know, what I did when I was young, I don't want that to be an influence on the children now. And don't you know that's exactly what they put out?
Yep, because that's exactly what. Look, that whole game, it's sort of like with Sister So-So, Sophia Stewart. Come on. The one who actually wrote the screenplay for the Matrix and Terminator movies. All right. The game is this, man. We come up with the spiritual creativity. They come up with the interesting financial means to bring that our creativity to market. The market is the people. The people is who the people is. In the United States of America, the people with the money on per capita are white people. If you do not understand this, you do not recognize that basic fact of numerical
always
power.
Be confused.
Not only will you be confused, you will always fucking lose. Man, how come nobody wants to buy this bullshit? Because you're targeting just a small segment of the fucking population. You got to use a shotgun approach. You don't win the economic game with a little 22. You win that motherfucker with a saturation bombing. You know, just hit everybody. Do. That's how you win. And until we recognize that, and I know that goes against a lot of people. Well, what about, you know, black this, black that? It don't work. Not enough people in the game that's thinking like that. It'd be great to be like that.
There was a solution that I loved on Black Sunrise's show. Check out the reparations show. The last one, I think, was the last one she did on reparations. She said, we need to get an investment bank.
Yes, the African American Development Bank.
And everybody give $1. There's 29 million African Americans, and that's taking out the immigrants. And in a year, that's $12 per person. And she figured it out. That's like $400 and something million. If we want to have any type of political say, we have to have money. Yes. Like Ice Cube says, for my birthday, I'm going to buy a politician.
Well,
so we don't have any economic weight. The only thing we have is disorder and, disorderly, we don't have a lot of ways. We don't have a lot of ways. We know now that after we saw Ferguson, we know exactly what their tactics are now. And they know what our tactics are too. So, I really think that Popeye's chicken thing was to understand. They collected chatter enough ebonics that now they can be able to understand what we're saying, where before they were so isolated from Black people, they didn't understand us.
I mean, that Popeye's chicken thing. You know what that was?
Software.
That was a social fuck you guys. The Popeye's
chicken thing. So we need to go back to more ebonics, more creative language, and back to African languages, and back to Black people have always had to use language and codify it so that the other people couldn't understand us.
Yeah, but now they're already to the point to where no one understands us, so they just villainize us, thus prepping us for the final solution.
Did you see it on the news that they supposedly, the guy that supposedly how they had that anti-Semitic attack on some bakery or something, some kind of little store? Was it? I want to say it was in New Jersey, and they had killed 2 of the guys that were supposed to be Black Israelites or whatever. You don't say Black Hebrew Israelites. You say Hebrew Israelites. There's only white people that will say Black Hebrew Israelites. Yeah. But that's how it got depicted in the news as Black Hebrew Israelites. Well, now they done come up with supposedly a bomb that they had in their truck, and they were saying it would have blasted up to 5 football fields. And so now you have these people walking around saying these Orthodox folks walking around with mace and pepper spray. I'm afraid they're attacking us. Boy, what a false flag for them, huh?
This is what I'm saying. When we look at what the Hebrew Israelites are saying, when we look at all I ask is just show me where they're wrong. When they're bringing out Bible verses, when they're bringing out historical facts, and the way that I'm not saying they're right, I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just presenting the information. I would like someone else to say, hey, this is where they're wrong. I can show you academics. I'm using my scholarship to show you where they're wrong. See, they're doing the same thing as that Amun Ra guy, the atheist that I often critique. Whenever you define the argument, and it's a beautiful strategy, whenever you define the argument, and you're already using a piece of work that you thoroughly examined, yes, you're not going to be defeated. You're going to be undefeatable because you have the word behind you.
I'm afraid that our religion in itself is defeating us.
In what way?
I'm afraid that all of the books that we're following have been made so that we stay in the position that we're in, and the small sombreros become the powerful ones.
Or stay the powerful ones. Let's just keep it like that, because they've been powerful for a hot minute.
Well, yeah, and they don't. The reason that they put these laws on us is so that we don't identify who they truly are.
Right.
They've taken on the Semitic people's identity.
Right.
And they're not Semites. You can look at their DNA and tell they're not Semites.
They're no more Semitic than Elizabeth Warren is Native American.
A trick bag of religion, and then what? Most of the religious pastors just do what? Pacify us and tell us don't do shit.
Basically,
don't attack nobody. Don't do this. Don't do that.
But give me your money, and let me have access to your woman. Give me your money. Let me have access to your woman, and don't you do shit, boy. Go to work.
Right. And then I know this one lady, her husband couldn't control how much she was giving to the church.
Well, she probably gave it all.
Checkbook. She had a checkbook. And he looked up and said, gave $2,000 or $3,000 for this, and and instead of investing in our own businesses and things like that, we're putting it in the church, and what are they doing with it? So we need to reevaluate our churches and the book. I just went into Joyce Meyer's book. It's a Bible, and it's a amplified edition. And when you read Revelations 2, and no pastor on these big TV shows ever preaches on Revelation 2. Now you'll hear Minister Farrakhan preach on it. But read Revelation 2, verse 8 and 9. Well, in the Amplified Edition, they don't even use the word Jew. It's totally taken out already.
So what does verse 8 and 9 say?
Let me get it. Talk about getting a strike. Hold on. Hold on. Let me get it for you. Woo! You asked here. Well, only now you're going to have me. I am Farrakhan tonight, huh?
Oh.
I am Farrakhan tonight. And it's in red. We know when it's in red.
It's supposed to be coming from
Jesus,
God.
right?
Right.
I know. Okay, number 8, 2 and 8. And to the angel of the church in Samaria, write, these things says the first and the last, who was dead and who came to life. Number 9, I know your works, tribulations, and poverty, but you are rich. And I know the blasphemy of those who say that they are Jews and are not.
What?
That are a synagogue of Satan.
Read that first part again. Those people who
I'll
are
read,
what?
I'm gonna read 2 and 9. Revelation 2 and 9. This is Jesus. I know your works, tribulation, and poverty, but you are rich. And I know the blasphemy of those who say they are Jews and are not, but are a synagogue of Satan.
So
now that's not going to be. You know how I found that? You know that sheriff that was down south, and they fired him for preaching.
Not that Joe guy.
It was supposed to be against the LGBT, saying they should kill the LGBT. Did you hear that?
No, I did not hear about that one.
They fired him. He was a pastor, and he was a sheriff, and he's from All Scriptures Church.
Oh shit!
And the news went in there because I had to dig in that one. The news went in there and filmed him, and I heard him, as pastors do, say a call of a scripture and a verse. So he called like 2 Timothy, this, that, so and so, and then he read it and spoke on it. Now, he read Revelations 2 and 10, and then it jumped. It jumped to going back to John. So, wait a minute. Did I hear that right? I played it back. They had cut it out. And it was a local news team that filmed it. They spliced that out. So when I heard Revelation 2 and 10, I read the whole chapter. So I went to Revelation 2 and started at the beginning and got a full understanding. And as I read it, let those have ears hear.
Right.
Because that's what it's talking about. If you got ears, hear what this is saying in Revelation 9.
And if you have money, use that money to help others.
So this pastor's reading of the Bible itself was banned.
Damn.
On television. The actual reading of the Bible was taken out. They cut it out. And it just said Revelation 2. You're a pastor, son, After they call it, somebody reads it.
Right.
And then the pastor speaks on it. You might have a reader that reads it, and then the pastor speaks on it. But no, they went straight from Revelations 2 and 10, chopped that to another scripture. And that's how I found this. Because you don't want me to know, I'm going to go look now. Just because you chopped it out, I got to go see.
I always want to chop out the good stuff. Well, you know
what,
gal?
They chopped it out. They edited it. They edited that. Like I said, I'm into photography, so I'm going to notice when you splice or edit something. And they spliced that son of a bitch. Boy, they sure did. They spliced it.
And
spliced it right out.
It together. I'm going to do a show. I think I'm going to have to, where I go out in the world and I ask people just one simple question: what color was Adam and Eve? And I just want to hear what do they believe? Because when you go to my channel right now and click on the community page, the last poll there, I asked what color is Adam and Eve, And the choices are black, white, brown, and yellow. Black comes in like at the highest percent, then it's white, then it's brown, and nobody's saying yellow, like 0%, like not one Asian person. Yeah, Adam, Eve were Asian. Click.
Whoa,
nobody.
I've never been to your community page.
Yeah, that's where I got all the polls
It's my
at.
first time. Thank you for telling me. I found out you can look me up, but it's not showing on my list of my playlist. So I don't know how to set it up. Maybe we can talk. Maybe you can call me and teach me. But I don't have home, community, and the channels or anything like that. It just has my name, and you can get to some of the things that I've selected and put in a playlist, so that I have things you can look at too.
Cool. Yes, because yes, we have to build your page up.
So I don't know how to do it, so I need some help from some young folks.
Hey, no problem. I'll do what I can, help out.
Yeah, I would like to set it up so that people could be on the community channel. I put on my subscription so that people could see what I subscribe to. But you can look up Kathy Garner, and it's a red circle, and see stuff I've collected, because not all of it's showing yet.
And you do have, and brothers and sisters, Sister Kathy does have a lot of information. She definitely goes in and picks out the good stuff, leaving the fat and ridiculousness behind. So that being said, we're at like the 2-hour mark with this. I
appreciate the time, because I really wanted to clear that up about ADOS. If you guys are following ADOS, I really think it's an infiltrated group. That's how they've done this with Intel Pro, and they did it again.
I just want to say thank you, sister, for taking the time, sharing your information with us. And, because like I said, man, a lot of people don't understand. It takes a lot of off-air hours to get hip on game, to be able to talk about the things that we talk about. And, you're just not going to roll up in this seat. We have fun with it. We clown, but at the end of the day, we really do know what the hell we're talking about. And we do know why we're talking about these things. All right.
Right.
There is a.
And I appreciate you allowing me on your platform. I felt so guilty. I wanted to make this correction now for at least a couple of months, that I went so gung ho for that ADOS, and I just want to just warn the family. If you're in ADOS and you're doing it on your own, fine, but I wouldn't listen to anybody about it.
Right. Because
I wouldn't listen to
scam.
Quote unquote leaders.
No leaders, man. We need to start a group. No more leaders. No more leaders, because our leaders ain't about shit. I'm just saying.
It's about the ideas. It's about the ideas.
It
is.
And
if the ideas are still here, then I can die and the ideas still live. I'll be part of your living dead. But remember what I said. And that's good. Thank you for allowing me on. I really appreciate, Patrick, all that you do. And honey, that chopping of the tree, I stayed with you the whole time you chopped it. And I enjoyed that water in the background. You could hear it off the microphone.
Yeah.
You could hear the creek. I was right there with you, brother. So I appreciate that, and more survival stuff for us. I really would like that.
Hey, and that's what y'all will get, some more survival
and
stuff.
I just encourage you to keep on keeping on, and congratulations on the Stop Smoking.
Yes, it's been
congratulations, and I don't care how mean or irritable you get, we right here. We ain't going nowhere. We love you. We love you. Say hi to the family, kiss the kids.
I will.
And that's it for me. And thanks for joining us on True Power is Mine today.
Yes, thank you, Sister Kathy. Peace and power.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Wow, what a terrific woman. Yes. This is what's so blessing about this show. It's not just me. It's you guys and gals out there. It's the chatters. It's the listeners. It's the people sharing the videos on your personal social media outfits and other platforms. Just thank you. The channel has grown. Well, as always, this is where we come to the end of the show. This will conclude TPIM SR Live. Today's date is January 15, 2020, the year of our Lord. Please live your life with integrity, without hate, envy, or greed.
As always, brothers and sisters, please, 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 let's try to be kinder to one another. Peace and power, unity and victory, dignity and respect, liberation. I'm out.